Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurship mini course. I'm Dr. J. Have you ever asked, what is entrepreneurship? Or I have an idea, but how do I get started? Or have you ever wondered, what do I do next in my startup? Well, you've asked the right questions because in this mini course, I will be answering those questions and many others. In this entrepreneurship course, I will be covering 5 basic fundamentals of entrepreneurship, which includes defining entrepreneurship, what is the difference between an idea and opportunity, what is a feasibility analysis, understanding business models, and the importance of industry and competitor analysis. This mini course will work in a sequential format where one module builds off the other. These basic 5 fundamentals are also enough to get you started. Each module will cover a topic and provide you with follow-up steps of what to do next. Full disclosure, I will state that this is a beginner's course. I will not be covering all the topics in full detail, and each module is kept short just to provide you enough to get started on this path. Also, this course does not guarantee any type of success. All right, that's enough talking. Let's get started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first module of the What is Entrepreneurship course. In this module, we're giving an introduction to entrepreneurship. I am your instructor, Dr. J. And the learning objectives of this course, we're going to examine the challenges associated with defining entrepreneurship, discuss the concepts of entrepreneurial uniqueness, personal traits, and of course, the elements of entrepreneurship. So a little overview of what to discuss is, of course, defining entrepreneurship, which is a definition that has a term that has many definitions interpreted differently by people, but we'll go by a certain definition of entrepreneurship, but traits of entrepreneurship ventures and the characteristics of entrepreneurs. So, what is entrepreneurship? When you ask individuals, what is entrepreneurship? If I walk into a room of 100 individuals who want to build their own startup company or looking for funding for their startup venture, and ask them what is entrepreneurship, almost 100 of those individuals, almost all of them are going to have their own definition. No one's going to have a unison definition of entrepreneurship. Everybody almost defines entrepreneurship in their own ways, right? Some of the definitions of entrepreneurship has been, entrepreneurship is the art of turning an idea into a business, creating value where there was none, creating a new business in the face of risk and uncertainty, right? Others define entrepreneurship as, making riches or, being your own boss, starting your own thing, And so again, entrepreneurship is really, really in essence, creating value where there was none, and of course, turning an idea into a business. And you do face risk and uncertainty when you're in entrepreneurship, but you're basically creating value where there was no before, right? You're putting value into something that somebody will buy or purchase from you. So you're creating value. That's what you basically are. In entrepreneurship, you're creating value that people will buy from, right? And you're creating a system where it will continuously run without you being there. And that's a main thing about entrepreneurship that separates it from, the hustler or the one person consultant show, right? Because in entrepreneurship, because you've created value, right, and you've turned an idea into a business, you've created a system in place where you don't need to be there all the time for it to run, right? Let's look at, for example, Bill Gates. Right? When he started Microsoft with his buddies, with a couple of other people, they created a system where if Bill Gates leaves, which he did leave, when he left, right, Microsoft still runs. And that's the main thing about entrepreneurship, right? In entrepreneurship, you create a system where you can leave and it'll run. Now, will it run the same as when you were in it? That's up for debate. It could be even better or it could fail. So that's a whole different debate. But you create a system, where it's going to continuously run, and it must innovate and improve in order for it to continue, right? Um, so there's a lot of considerations that define entrepreneurship, and there's a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself. When we're talking about defining entrepreneurship, does someone need to start a business from scratch to be called an entrepreneur, right? Can we call someone an entrepreneur if they bought an ongoing business from someone else or took over the operations of a family business from their parents? If someone starts a small business and never needs to hire employees, can that person be called an entrepreneur? Is someone an entrepreneur if they buy into a franchise so they can follow a well-established formula for running the operation? Is someone an entrepreneur because of what they do or because of how they think? These questions, right, help shape entrepreneurship, and as to why it is difficult to define entrepreneurship. And that's why when you type in entrepreneurship in Google or Bing, or you look up books, right, people have all these different definitions of entrepreneurship because, and then you have all these people calling themselves entrepreneurs just because maybe they have a one person show, or they have a mom and pop, or they took over a business, or they bought into a franchise and they call themselves entrepreneur. The question is, do you call that person an entrepreneur, or is that entrepreneurship? um, but there are certain things though that the entrepreneur, right, they do have, the entrepreneurship venture does have certain characteristics that make it different from other ventures, right? The entrepreneurial venture is unstable, right? There's really no stability in the very beginning. There's no stableness, right? Everything's uncertain. We don't know if it's going to succeed. We don't know if it may fail, it may succeed. We don't know where it's going to go, right? So there's unstableness when you're starting out an entrepreneurial venture, right? Everything has to be strategic. You just can't throw things out there and hope for the best, right? You have to be strategic. You have to be future oriented. It's not about day to day. It's about the future, right? In the future, 5, 10 years from now, we see ourselves having this app across the world, right? Or whatever it may be, the future oriented of that venture, right? You're concerned with growth and appreciation of the business value, and you have professionals involved in the entrepreneurial venture. When you pitch the business, when you pitch, if you have a startup venture and you're going to go pitch to funders, or to venture capitalists, angel investors, people who invest in startups, they're going to look at who's part of your team, right? They're going to say, okay, who's part of your team? Because first of all, they're not a venture capitalist is not going to invest any business with a one-person show. Let's just throw it out there right now. Believe me, they're not going to. And when they see your team, they're going to be like, okay, let me see your team. And if they see the person is not qualified for that position, they're going to be like, I don't think this person is right for the team or for this business. They want professionals. They don't want just your uncle, your aunt, your cousin who can run numbers. Like, well, is this person a professional or not? So a startup, entrepreneurial venture, uh, has professionals involved. If they don't, they eventually will. Believe me, if in the beginning they don't have professionals involved, once you get venture capitalists involved, if your startup gets the venture capitalists, believe me, professionals are going to be placed in, and those people at the very beginning are probably going to get tossed out. It just happens. It's what it is. It is, right? And entrepreneurship. So why be an entrepreneur, right? Ask yourself, why do you want to be an entrepreneur, right? And some of the reasons why people want to be entrepreneurs is because they want to be their own boss, right? They want to pursue their own idea or ideas. They want to get the financial reward. They want to have a better quality of life, right? When you're an entrepreneur, it's really 24/7, 365. If you want to escape your corporate world of 9 to 5 and you launch into entrepreneurship because you want to escape your 9 to 5, you're in the wrong business, because you're gonna have more work, because as an entrepreneur, you are the main person, right? The buck stops with you, right? If you're the founder of the business. And of course, and you're not guaranteed any financial reward, right? That's the thing about entrepreneurship. It's unstable. Remember when I talked about it's unstable. There's no stability in the beginning of an entrepreneurship venture. So to give financial reward, you hear these stories about, if you looked at about Uber, right? Uber, the car sharing app. I mean, the ride sharing app. Sorry, the ride sharing app. You hear about one of the first employees of Uber is a billionaire. At the moment of this recording, there was an article about the one of the first employees of Uber is a billionaire. That type of individual, or the people who make billions off their venture, it's rare. It's not common for everyone to succeed and become billionaires. So the financial reward can be there, but it's not always guaranteed, right? Again, better quality of life, maybe afterwards when you make your millions or billions, there may be some quality of life, but at the very beginning, you're always working. So of course, you have to ask yourself, why do I want to become an entrepreneur? So you have to ask yourself that, but these are some of the reasons why people want to become entrepreneurs. So what can we learn from entrepreneurs, right? Um, Here's the thing about entrepreneurs, right? Successful entrepreneurs are able to combine adaptability with persistence, no matter the obstacles. This is the one thing about entrepreneurs, right? When we talk about what is entrepreneurship, right? Here it is. Your introduction to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs, they combine adaptability with persistence. Remember those two words in the combination. No matter the obstacle, right? They adapt and they persist. If you look at very successful companies, the reason they're still standing is because they adapt and they persist. Those individuals behind those companies adapt and persist. When they don't adapt and when they don't persist, right? I mean, they can persist, but if they don't adapt, you fail. Look what's going on to Sears. Look what happened to Kmart. Look what happened to Venture. Look what happened to Toys R Us. Look what happened to Montgomery Ward's. Look what happened to Toys R Us. In fact, I might have mentioned already. You know, look what happened to Marshall Field. Right? If there's no adaptability, if there's no persistence, you're going to fail. Right? No matter the obstacles, you can't blame it. Oh, it's the internet. Oh, it's this company. It's that company. It's this. It's this generation, that generation. No, you have to be able to adapt, and that's what entrepreneurs do when they have their ventures. They are able to adapt and persist, right? So some of the things about entrepreneurs, right? They are achievement motivated. They have an internal locus of control. They take calculated risk. One thing about entrepreneurs is that they don't gamble. They take extremely calculated risk. They don't want to risk all. They don't put all the chips at one table. They find opportunities, right? They're very independent. They're self-confident, assertive, and persuasive, right? They have persistence. They have tenacity. They don't. They continue no matter the obstacles. So that is what makes an entrepreneur. So that, of course, wraps up of what is entrepreneurship. As we talked about entrepreneurship is creating value where there was none before. That, of course, if you want to take anything from this module, is that's what it is. Entrepreneurship is, it's creating value where there was none before. That is what entrepreneurship is, and to be able to, someone who creates a new business in the face of risk and uncertainty, they see opportunities, right? It's the process of pursuing opportunities without limitation of resources. So that is what entrepreneurship is, and an entrepreneur, right, is adapts and persists no matter the obstacles, and they have some of these traits and characteristics. And there's nothing wrong if you don't have these traits and characteristics, right? You're gonna face some challenges if you want to be your own entrepreneur, but you can build these traits and characteristics. Some people just have them. And of course, that goes back to the debate, are entrepreneurs born or are they made, right? And there's no scientific evidence to prove that entrepreneurs are born, but they may have some traits and characteristics more than others. So this wraps up Module 1 of the Entrepreneurship 101 course. I will see you again in the next module, which will talk about opportunity recognition.